refraction?
Like every drawing we will do, you start with a very, very light sketch, which you will alter as you go along. This is refraction drawing. It's the spoon in the glass, and this will take you probably 3 hours or so. This is probably one of the hardest things we will ever draw. Why are we doing it? Because many of you are still struggling with the idea that value has importance. You are relying almost totally on contour line, and that is not what makes a good drawing. Okay, so I kind of like where this is, and you can see here, as it turns this corner, we have, and see there's a little lip there, and you can probably make your image bigger on your computer at home. We're going to make that dark. Now, do you want to make it dark right away? Well, probably not, but I was trying to show you where this darkness is. So that's the edge there. And then we come across, and we don't actually see where that is. It's something like right here, because it would be right underneath where the edge is. But we see this right here, which is like a 3 or a 4 in shading. And I will be constantly talking about that value scale, so, and you may have to draw with your eraser. So I'm taking that line out because it's too far over. Okay, and this down here, and over here. And we won't get this all done today. I will be showing this in class, and the spoon is still recognizable as a spoon, but you can see that it starts past the center here. So I have to start the spoon that's in the water past the center, and then go up like this. And it comes over to here, but then when it's over here, we have the where the water is. Now this is dark right there, so I could darken that in. And you may say, well, why do I have to be such a good artist this soon? Well, for those of you who want to pry some money out of a university or an art school, you've got to show them that you are pretty much a master draftsman when you are in high school. And a draftsman is somebody who sees where it is. Now this spoon starts over here. Am I going to get it exactly? Probably not, but I will do the best I can. Now it's only halfway up, so I'm going to bring that down a little bit. But I'm not going to worry about the line I just made at all. I can change that later. And now the spoon comes up, and you don't see the handle when it comes around this rim. It disappears. So we come over here, and we then pick up the spoon again. So if you were Superman and had X-ray vision, you would see the handle. Now how big is that handle? When you see artists do this or hold up their pencil like this, they're measuring. So I am going to measure from here to the tip, and from that to that are the same. So from here to here, that means my handle has to come up to here. I just measured it. It isn't measuring like it's 3 inches. It's measuring like, is it in proportionally correct? I guess that's the way we want to say that. And I will be explaining that as I show that on the film. But there's your basic drawing. Now, I'm going to add the complicated lip along here. Now, I want this to come here. So I don't want that line to really be there, because it isn't really there. It comes up here, and then it just sort of disappears into space. You can sort of see something, but not really. And then we have this water here, which comes around and it swirls around like this, so you see it curving back here. And then we have this dark space in here. So I will use hatching to do that, and you can use your fingers to smear that later. I wouldn't bother about it now. And then, where is it dark here? Well, it's really dark right there. So I can press down there. This would be very hard in that pad that I have because I'd have to be constantly changing pencils. And I might actually use a black pencil for some of this to get the contrast we want. Okay, this has the bottom of the spoon here. See how there's a bottom there? I might have made it a bit fat there. Let me put it on a fast diet. And then we have this part here. And it's down here and it comes across. And we have this shadow here. How much time have we used?
6 minutes.
Oh, good. 6 minutes. That's hardly any time at all. And look how round this bottom is. I'm going to make sure mine looks really round. I'm always terrified I'm going to go over the amount of time we can film.
That's okay.
Okay, so then I might want to do this to get my darkness. You can always draw with your eraser to find the light areas again. Don't worry about it. You might even want to outline them. How's that look? It's about the same width as there. So I think I need to bring it down a little bit. So bring it down a little bit. Do we see this go into here? No, we don't. It kind of goes into space. We know it must, but that's what we know from our understanding of how things are made. But we're not going to go with that. We're only using our eyes on this. So I'm going to put hatching along there. And the spoon casts a sort of a shadow here, but it's smudgy. Technical term, smudgy. So I'm not sure what term I would use, but here we are. And we're going to go now. I am going to draw there, and then you see how dark that little line is, but I'm going to have to go almost that dark but leave a little teeny white line there, and it's going to soften as it goes out. So I have to make my gradation in grays soft, and we come down to here, and then we have a very dark line right there, and it isn't an even line. It's kind of like little hills. Almost looks like Colorado Rockies. And it's pretty dark. And if after you get your drawing done you have a black pencil, you might use that. Now you have a white line here. See that white line? And it goes all the way around. So I got to make sure it's there all the way around. Those of you who had 2D design, you remember when you put a dark line next to another dark area, you leave a white line, and that tells you where one thing begins and something else ends. All right, so we're going to hatch all the way along here. And I'm going to start pressing harder because I want this to be clear that this is the base of the glass. And I'm going to go over here and do it. Now, if I want to work into the interior of it, put a paper towel or something underneath your hand so your oils don't smear your your lines. I know that I've said that before, but I will keep saying that because nothing upsets you more than having a bunch of smudge marks on a drawing. And the background is important, but we're not going to worry about the little flecks on the table. If you want to put them in, fine, but I'm not going to do that. This has gotten too fat. Let me take this up. Don't we all wish we could add fat and thin whenever we wanted to? That would be great, wouldn't it? Okay, so we're going to go here. We're coming up to a kind of a point here. So I want to make sure I come up to a point. There. And see the gradation in tone and how it changes stuff? This bottom is mostly 7s. It does have little flecks of light in it, so I'm going to leave some flecks of light. I think I'll put one right there. But the rest of it will be dark, and flecks of light will then show up better if they have this dark around them. And you have a little bit of a white line there, which I am going to leave. I want it more light. So draw with your eraser. So, see, I'm really trying to get that curve. Now, my glass is slightly bigger than the original, but that's okay. Honestly, don't care if you want to make it smaller or bigger. It's probably easier if you make it bigger, because the tinier the drawing, the more hard it is to make little alterations to it. Okay, I probably want to stop on that for a bit and work my way back up to the spoon here. Now our spoon has thickness, so we want to make sure we have that thickness in there. Now, unlike where it hits the water and it changes position, when you're on the edge of the glass, it doesn't do that. So we're going to darken this edge right here. And what we're doing here is proving that you're a good draftsman, because that's what colleges want you to come in, or art schools or whatever it is. And there are a lot more scholarships in art than there are in athletics, so keep that in mind, Lottie Murphy. You could get a double scholarship. That would be great. Maybe you could even be like Zoe Harris and have to give some money back because you have too many scholarships. That's kind of cool too. So here's where our spoon is entering. And I'm going to darken my spoon probably to about a 5 or 6. That's why I keep saying this about the numbers, because we're working on that value scale, always working on the value scale. Now there are little bits of light along here, and this, I'm going to sharpen my pencil again. And this is a HB number 2, so it does have, I'm going to put those little dimples on our let's see, there's 1, 2, 3, so I got, let's make it bigger, 2 and 3. And this is a 7 right along here. This is a 7, but it's got a little highlight there. As I said, artists are kind of like CSIs. They got to notice all sorts of little things like that. But you're sort of buying your way into college with talent. A school that might not look twice at you for your grades might go, oh my God, look what this person can do as an artist. So now I'm going to put a lighter tone here so that I have multiple layers of gray tones within this spoon handle, because I want those little dimples I just made to show up. So, and then you have a dark space, but then it goes into a light back here, and you will have to make that second line, because otherwise you won't be able to see why you have a light. And then it picks up dark down here along there, so you want to darken it there. And silver is tricky to draw. Anything reflective like this is tricky to draw, but you're working on your skills, so you'll get it. And then this is up like this. I'm going to darken this. I'm going to press harder to make that darker, but see how I've got almost all the values within this spoon handle. I'm going to soften this up, blend them together. Always blending. I think that's why those tortillions are so expensive. Outrageous. $7 for a bunch of wadded up pieces of paper. Oh my God. That's too much. Whoa. Didn't say anything. Okay. So now I'm defining the pencil. Yeah, I'm defining the pencil. I'm defining the spoon going in the water, but there's a water line. And see how there's a double, almost 3 layers of line there? So it goes over here. And then this water will have to be hatched because it's grayed in. And then when it comes around this corner, see how it gets dark there? That's how you know it turns the corner. So I'm going to darken that. And then darken beneath it, but not quite as dark as that. Don't press as hard. And then we have something happening here. It does this kind of thing here. So we have like a 6 there and a 5 to a 4 there. So this is the start of this. I think I've curved that line too much. I think I'll soften it. I might make it big though, because we have this white spot right there, and I'm going to make sure I keep that in there. And we come up, and you could work on this for hours, but just make sure you catch that refraction where the spoon is here, but when it gets in the water, it's over here. And I'm going to move it over even more. And as I said, this is the convergence of science and art. This is why when you do dissections in class, I don't know if they still dissect animals in class here.
I don't know.
Yeah, well, they did when I was a kid. I used to find it really upsetting. But part of that, better cadavers are what people tend to use. Leonardo da Vinci would go, and anybody that had died, he'd try and cut him open and try and see how humans were put together in the inside. And that's why in a lot of art classes you'll draw skeletons. And we'll probably draw a skeleton somewhere along the line. And we'll talk about the things that Mr. Clifford talks about. Because human anatomy, it's best to draw the bones so you know where things go. Okay, now look what happens to the spoon over here. It actually kind of goes up on the side. We can't tell where the round part is. So we're going to just abstract that. It reminds me of Cubism a little bit, where things are just abstracted, except they took everything and turned it into geometrical shapes. And we're just trying to draw reality, which is strange enough. Mm-hmm. Tim thinks so too. So.
You're running out of time.
Okay. I'm going to stop this for today. Going to keep this drawing, and we will take this up again next Thursday. So you need to, Monday in class we will work on this, Monday and Tuesday, and then Thursday and Friday I'll put in, we'll probably take all week next week. That's why this is a 2-week assignment. It's a big assignment and it's very complex.
Hmm.
So,
Bye.
bye.